Welcome back to the Total Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Paul. Our sponsor of the week is Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you need photos or video, they are the team to get the job done. If you need professional headshots, wedding photos, you name it, they are the photographers to get the job done. And if you need a wedding videography, a movie shot, a commercial, they are the team to get the video job done. So please contact Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions for all of your photography and videography needs. Our special guest this week is a former United States Nevada 2014 Lisa Sutton is on the show. I am so excited for Lisa to be on the show for several reasons. She is a well-known and incredible model, pageant contestant, entrepreneur with 4 individual businesses, both in bakery, real estate, shipping, and clothing. And on top of all of that, she's also running for District 4 in her home state of Nevada. This is someone that has taken her pageant and modeling career and all of her personal volunteering and has taken it to the next level. If there is any person that I personally know that has taken everything that she has worked hard to achieve to the next level, Lisa is the person you need to listen to. Lisa is an incredible person. I am so excited for her, and I really, truly hope you guys enjoy this episode and really pay attention to all of these valuable pieces of information that Lisa provides to you guys complimentary. So I hope you stay tuned and enjoy. And welcome to the show, Lisa.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm so excited to have one of what I would say one of my favorite pageant friends, as well as just I would consider you a good friend, even though I don't rarely get to talk to you. Someone that's definitely excelling in every form, even in business life and even in politics. So I'm so excited for you to be on the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on. Thanks,
Yeah.
Paul.
Well, it's always good to see someone, especially young, really trying to excel in all forms of life. So, let's take it back to let's take it back to how did you get in the pageantry, and how did that coincide with your business? So, did you do the pageantry, or did you get into the pageantry because you were modeling, or did you do that to promote the business, or?
Yeah. So, with the pageantry, it kind of just, it came up as an opportunity. And at that point, this is like fall of 2013, I was already kind of on the tail end of my modeling career. So I had started modeling in like 2006. So, I saw the pageant as an opportunity to really elevate my community service game and have the opportunity to give back in a really meaningful way, use the Sash and the Crown as a platform to bring attention to these nonprofits that I had already been volunteering with. So I decided to compete, and I competed. I chose to compete in the Miss United States organization at that time because at that time in 2013, I had already aged out of the other kind of main systems as well. So Miss America at that time, the age out was 24, I think. And then again, at that time, age out of Miss USA at 26. And so my last chance at a major state title at the Miss level was going to be Miss United States. And so I had the opportunity to compete for that, and I was able to win May of 2014 as Miss Nevada United States.
Hey, well, I just want to make a point to say that just because you age out of the other two, the United States title is not a second title in any way. I mean, to my opinion, I think the Crown specifically is probably better than America, for sure, because I love the incorporation of the Statue of Liberty crown. So
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I really credit the Miss United States organization for all the opportunities that I had, and certainly our Nevada system at that time. The executive director was Tanis Smith, and Tanis was my director during my entire experience, and she was just incredible. I mean, she really, she truly cares about her girls, and she really built that system from 0 to 100. It was thanks to her hard work, her dedication, and her belief in her girls that I think that organization really prospered under her here in Nevada at that time.
well, that's always good to be able to show that you can take a zero from nothing to a fabulous business, and you've done that with two separate businesses. So I mean, you know how hard that is. So
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work. But the other thing is that you don't do it alone, right? I have great business partners in all of my endeavors, and of course we have great staff, great teams, and that's what it takes. I really think a collaborative approach and showing the ability that you can work with everyone to share an ultimate goal, which is to get the job done, do right by your customers, put out a fantastic quality product. All of those things have to be key objectives that you share with everyone on your team to work together.
So you said the main goal of doing the pageant specifically was for your foundations that you were and the organizations that you are working towards. So would you mind mentioning those?
Yeah, working with the community service work, and so um, I've done work with the Nevada SPCA. They're incredible. They at the time they were our state's largest no-kill shelter, and it's especially here in southern Nevada. There's often an influx of animals that need homes because oftentimes you'll have people who move here and then they'll move away. So it's like a bit of a transient place sometimes. And so as a result, people sometimes won't take their pets with them. Or you'll have situations where people have dogs and they end up having puppies, and then they give those puppies out to friends and family, and then a year later you'll see turn-ins. So the Nevada SPCA is a wonderful organization. They've done a lot of great work here in Nevada. Another organization that I get a chance to do a lot of work with is called Monday's Dark. I actually served on their board before stepping down to run for office. And Monday's Dark is amazing. So they're a nonprofit here in the community, and they focus on helping as many different charities as possible, almost like a nonprofit conduit. Because what they do is they host. It's really fun. They host an event 2 times a week on Mondays. 2 times a month on Mondays, and the event is a show. And all the performers that are in the show some of them are strip headlining performers. They're all professional performers throughout the city of Las Vegas, and they volunteer their time to be part of the show. And the show raises $10,000 in basically 2.5 hours for whichever charity partner they partner with for that night. And it's just incredible. I mean, last December, I believe Monday's Dark had given away its millionth dollar. Like they'd given away $1 million
Wow.
To charity partners. Yeah, throughout Vegas. And they just do so much incredible work. And it's really cool. It's founded by a friend of mine named Mark Shunock. Mark is he was part of the traveling cast of The Lion King. He's an incredible performer. His background is obviously in performance. And so he was on the cast of The Lion King. He played Timon. He was also part of the cast of Rock of Ages, which is a show that used to be here, I believe, at the Venetian. He played Lonnie in that show. And so he's just, always been a very vocal supporter of the arts, of our charities. And he took it upon himself to create this nonprofit, and it really has just become kind of a Vegas staple and a Vegas tradition.
Well, it's obvious that it's making a huge impact, especially at that dollar amount. I mean, when you get to a point where you're donating that much money, you can really make a difference.
Absolutely.
So your impact basically, so you didn't do any pageants before that, and you haven't done any pageants after that. So that is correct, right? Am I wrong, right?
Well, so I competed once before.
Okay.
It was back in Arizona when I was in college. I competed at Arizona America. This was like 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was second runner up. I won the talent portion. I played the flute, and yeah,
Oh,
it
really?
was a wonderful experience.
You're a
But
flute player? No, no way. I
hmm
that's something I have no idea. So okay, awesome. So
yeah,
so
so it was a great experience. I met a lot of great girlfriends during that
so
time too, just as I have now.
model pageant contestant, hopeful senator, and then talented performer. Is there anything else? Is there anything else that we can put on that list? I mean, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, I'll take it. Right? No,
Right.
it's just some of the things where, certainly growing up, my parents put a big emphasis on school and also fine arts education. So
Gotcha.
I had tap dance classes, piano lessons, flute lessons, all those things. So I'm really grateful for that background.
Now, I personally know that your modeling was very extensive, and you excelled in it. I mean, you in my opinion, you could have gone much further if you chose to. But I know that you have such an interest in business, and you really made your two businesses your sole life up to this point where you running for office. What what drew you to modeling, and for those clients that those customers listening, um, what allowed you to be excel as a model in that aspect?
Yeah. So, back when I had really kind of hit my stride and, was able to really extensively get involved with modeling, this was like very end of my time in college, like '06. And then when I was in grad school, I was in South Florida. And at that time in South Florida, I mean, there's so many beautiful women who live in Miami. But luckily for me, there were like no Asian Americans. There were like no like Asian models, certainly print models. And so that was totally to my advantage. It's kind of a bit of a lesson in marketing and business too, right? That people talk about scarcity of product, right? If you
Yeah, of
have
course.
a product that is scarce out in the market, there will be a higher demand for it in general, right?
No,
So
and
that's exactly what happened with me. I had the opportunity to get some incredible bookings and work with, amazing photographers and amazing publications because, they needed a certain look. They needed an Asian print model. And, they had all the other kind of looks covered, right? The brunettes and the blondes and redheads and, all the other different looks. And luckily I was able to, get a lot of great bookings because of my look.
well, that's great that you were able to fit a need that they were looking for that they didn't have. Is that something that you would recommend people specifically paying out for, making sure that they pay attention to and look for that, find that need that they could fill in a market in which they are they're not filling that, and then go to that market? Or do you think it's not worth that risk to necessarily make that leap?
I think it depends on what your overall goals and priorities are and your objectives for yourself, right? The reason I was down in South Florida was because I was going to school full time. I was in grad school. So that's why I was there, right? Like I didn't move there for modeling. I moved there to be a full-time student and be in school. So I think, one of the things that people can do is they can just kind of look at, what are their unique features? Um, of course, so being Asian, like that was something that, was kind of that luck and opportunity of just, I happened to be in a location where they didn't have a lot of Asian models. But, as a model, I think you can look at kind of what your unique attributes are. Do you have tattoos? Are you someone who's also involved in like another community of like, let's say cars or motorcycles or even boats? Like there's so much niche modeling now, where if you already have a propensity for that industry, you could do really well. You know, I have a girlfriend who, I mean, this is, you know, back in the day, but she would get a ton of work with motorcycle companies, and it was simply because she herself was so knowledgeable about them. She herself had a motorcycle, and she loved it, and she loved that community, and so it was just such a perfect fit for her to do a lot of work within that industry because she knew it. So it wasn't just, oh, here's this girl posing by a motorcycle. It was, she can get on it and she can ride it, and then you get great shots doing that. And you know, even being a brand ambassador for these different companies, she absolutely could talk the talk and walk the walk because she was genuinely interested in it already.
I mean,
So, you
that
know, I would take a look at that.
yeah, I mean that's some great advice because I think some people just assume that if you've got a beautiful face, you can just go out there and model. But it definitely sounds like there's a lot behind it, and finding your niche. It definitely sounds like the most appropriate way to go about it.
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, it's another layer that you can add. Because again, you know, there's so many beautiful women out there, you know, and it's truly this kind of subjective term as well, right? It's everyone's got a different standard of beauty. Every publication has a different standard of beauty. So, you know, how do you stand out? What qualities do you have, or even what interests do you have that you can also bring to the table to make yourself stand out?
So after doing the pageant, do you feel that you got the itch to help and motivate people, and that is that why you're on your path of running for office? Is that the the stone that started everything, or is it going back to volunteering?
Yeah, I mean, at the root of it, it's about community engagement. So, you know, for me, philanthropy has always been a part of my life. And you know, prior to politics, I had given back to charities and volunteered and served on boards simply as like a private citizen, right? That was my way of giving back. Um, and now, you know, in stepping up to run for office in the House of Representatives, um, again, this is my way to give back. This is my way to help Nevadans, and really, hopefully, give back in a meaningful way. So while the pageant wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a motivator for me to now get into politics, but I will say that it was a great preparer and a great primer for the work that has to be done. Because during my time as Miss Nevada United States, I did nearly 500 community appearances, volunteering in schools, reading in hospitals, working with nonprofits. And around all of that, what I was doing was going out and being in the community. I was out working with folks, talking to people, hearing what their issues were, and then kind of figuring out what nonprofits I could route them to and who could help. And, you know, in this process now, in running for office, obviously you have the policy side, but then you also have the constituent facing side where, you know, as a public official, you need to be out helping people. That's your job. That's your role, is to help your constituents, to help the people. And so that, you know, that is a similarity that is shared, I think, throughout not only my life, but also during my time with the pageantry as well.
Well, I had remembered that you had mentioned that you had done 500 plus appearances, and to me, that's just the same as what you're doing now because you have to go out and make sure that you're hearing the word of the people and understanding. I mean, that's just, to me, it's the same thing as campaigning, as well as after you win, keeping your word and letting the voice of the people known when you're back in town to get the policies that are more helpful for your people. So, I mean, I just see that as a great way to practice. Did you see that,
Mm-hmm.
in retrospect, do you see that was a great way to practice campaigning? Because that's what, I mean, that's how I see it. Those 500 appearances were just campaigns. You were just campaigning for Miss Nevada
Yeah.
and not for your own seat. So,
Yeah, exactly. Very similar, right? Like I said, you know, because what you're doing is you're getting out there in the community, getting out there in a very tangible way. You know, talking with folks, meeting them, you know, having those conversations. And it was very, very similar type of work. Absolutely.
How do you incorporate using that model background and state title and then incorporate that into a successful business? So if you have someone out there that maybe wants to start a business, would you encourage them to do a pageant as a way to get some notoriety and then start a business? Or do you think that it's not necessarily needed, that you don't have to be the face, you could make the brand be the face of its own brand?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's going to have kind of a different path and journey. And, you know, when you compete in a pageant, I think you as a contestant have to really decide why you're competing. What's your overall objective? Why do you want to do this? Because I feel like, in my opinion, to do it right, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So why do you want to put yourself through that? Right? Why are you doing this in the first place? So I think once you can drill down that purpose, that's when you're going to have an experience that you feel fulfilled by. And everyone's got a different answer for that. Everyone has their own journey and motivation, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think anyone should compete because they think that they can, or compete because they feel like someone else is putting pressure on them too. I think it has to be an individual choice, and you are the only one that can answer why you're competing and what you really want to get out of it.
Well, I absolutely agree with you that you need to do or compete in things that you truly believe in, because if someone pushes you to do something, one, it's not genuine, and two, you're not really going to put your full effort into it. So if you win it, like you said, you know, you're not going to really want to go to those public appearances. And you know, like you said, you went to 500 appearances. That you didn't do that. You didn't do that because you were required to. You did that because you truly believe in your title. So.
Right, exactly. And you're willing to put in the work, and that's what it is that, you know, it's going to take a daily source of motivation for you to want to consistently put in the work. And so that motivation is going to have to be a lot stronger than just, oh, I want a crown, or I want to do a photo shoot with a crown, or, you know, it has to be strong and purposeful, because, you know, there's a lot of time, energy, and effort that gets put in.
I just wanted to take 1 second from this great interview and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Productions. No matter if you're planning a wedding, a special event, or you just need an amazing headshot, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to the show and listen to this great interview. So Lisa, I keep on mentioning your fabulous businesses, but why don't we tell the audience your great cupcake company and all the other companies that you do, and you run.
Yeah, so we've got City Cupcakes. We make alcohol-infused cupcakes right here in Las Vegas. Elite Homes, Christie's International Real Estate. We are the exclusive Southern Nevada real estate brokerage for Christie's International Real Estate. Liquid and Lace, which is a swimwear brand, and we sell e-commerce online, liquidandlace.com. And then also a chain of shipping stores. These are like mailbox rental, packing, and shipping stores, kind of like a UPS store, but independent. We service UPS, FedEx, and the Postal Service, and they're called Ship Las Vegas.
Wow. I mean, I didn't even know about the shipping company.
Yeah, that got started in 2018. So
okay.
It's still relatively new, but
was the cupcakes not busy? Were you not? I know how busy the cupcakes are. You're like, oh, I need to be busier. You know, cupcakes are only 24 hours a day.
Exactly. No, for me, I've always been a fan of diversification. I think as an investor, as a business person, many of and actually all of the successful people that I know, the true financial mentors that I look up to, the business mentors that I look up to, they have multiple streams of revenue. They don't have just one or two lines of income. I think there's even like a meme that's out there now that's like, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. And I think there's absolutely truth to that, because you just can't predict what'll happen. And so it's a great way to diversify your portfolio and diversify your streams of income. And, if it's possible, team up with operations, team up with operations staff, team up with a partner who can help you diversify your income.
Well, I mean, just clearly based on the businesses that you're in and involved in, you're in sectors where there's a very small turndowns. I mean, most people will buy sugar and buy treats, no matter if they're poor or not. Most people are always trying to buy a house or sell a house. People will always go to the beach, and someone's got to ship something. So those are 4 sectors of the economy that you're pretty much pretty good in. So those are pretty good sectors of the economy to be in, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've definitely served me well, and they're definitely, diversified in relation to being kind of hedged against seasonality, right? So, there's a certain time of year that people tend to wear swimsuits.
Mm-hmm.
With the cupcakes, for example, we'll see certain spikes throughout the year of when we're just more busy than other times, right? Even with the shipping, obviously holiday season, that's a big spike, that's busy. So with the seasonality, even within each company, they've been able to kind of be spread out and kind of help balance each other as well.
Well, it's great that you continue. I'm sure that you will add more to your portfolio, but I know that you're focused on your race now. I'd love for you to tell us more about why you decided to run for a local seat. So and I can't imagine a better person. I mean, uh, red blue aside, you are a really good person, and I know that you will do good things for your local community, and I know that you have a strong heart for community. So I really do encourage people to vote for you, no matter what side of the aisle, because I think Lisa really is a genuine person, and Lisa doesn't, in my opinion, she really works hard to be a genuine person. So I think just asking her a question, I think she would give you a genuine question on how she sees things. So.
Well, thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredibly important for our government and our elected officials to be accountable and to be transparent. And so I look forward to, continuing that in my life and bringing that to public service. But as far as, why I decided to run, it's something I say often, even on social media too, but, 2020 is the year for private sector individuals like myself to come off the sidelines. I think for far too long, we've kind of left it to career politicians, and, that's not, it hasn't resulted in results that are good for everybody. And I think, especially now with how toxic the current political climate is and how partisan it can get, we really need people from within the community who have given back in tangible ways through philanthropy, without any sort of political lean or agenda, who are now coming off the sidelines and saying, you know what, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to run, I'm going to put myself in this position to hopefully make a change, make a difference. And it's going to take that people who just weren't involved before, like myself, to get engaged and get involved and encourage others who were not always involved in politics. Get them off the sidelines, get them registered to vote, get them involved, get them active. And that's what it's going to take to bring that fresh energy to get things done.
Well, I agree with you. We need to see some fresh faces, but in my opinion, we need to see some more female fresh faces and young female fresh faces. So I really appreciate you stepping up so young, because I know that it takes a large burden to run a campaign and to do this. So and you're taking away time from your businesses, especially during the climate we're in. So I really appreciate you stepping up there and doing that. So I know
Thank
that your
you.
policies are completely different, but were you motivated by OC and seeing how she got that well spread, and she was also a very blue collar person, was and then raised up? Is that had any motivation, or this was something that was really building in front of you and inside of you for a long time, and that you knew you needed to do it regardless of other people doing it on their own?
Yeah, politics was not in the plan. So it wasn't something that I had, considered for a long time and kind of held on to it and thought about it. Really, how a lot of how this came about was, from my shipping store in the heart of the Northeast of Las Vegas. My customers there, I had heard from my customers there that they were upset with the current congressman, that he had moved to Virginia and they weren't happy about that. That he wasn't doing his job, that his office never called people back, that he wasn't helpful, and that he wasn't around. And I thought that wasn't right. And that's when I decided to run against him.
So your local state allows your congressman to not have a residence in the state that he represents?
No, it's not allowed.
He's not allowed.
So,
He's doing it.
Yeah, it's not allowed.
He's
Yeah,
doing
so,
it illegally. Okay.
So he's
Or he has a
running for
second
US
house.
So he's a congressman for U.S. House of Representatives on the federal level, representing Nevada's 4th District, which is the election that I'm running in.
Right.
It's the seat I'm running for. And what the rules say is that you have to be a resident of Nevada.
That's what I thought.
Right. So, he still maintains a property in North Las Vegas.
But he doesn't live there.
He moved. Yeah, he moved to Virginia so much so that his kids used to go to school in Vegas. Now they're enrolled in school in Virginia. There's no secret about that. It's too obvious,
I hope you use that in your
interviewed. Yeah, he was interviewed in 2018 about the move, and the way he characterized it was that it was a family decision, that it was better for him and his family, for his family to move to Virginia.
Well, then you don't represent the people of Nevada.
Exactly.
Then.
Yes,
that's a
exactly.
simple.
Right. And you don't take taxpayers' dollars to pay yourself a salary for an area that you just no longer represent, that you're not part of anymore.
So, in my opinion, and I'll say this, and you don't have to agree with it. In my opinion, you have no representation because your representation is being represented by a gentleman in Virginia because he doesn't know he's not. That's horrible.
Right. How can you possibly know what's affecting a community, or how can you possibly know what would truly help a community if you just are not active and part of it?
So it should be, in my opinion, just with enough courage and people aware of the situation that you should be a slam dunk just based on they're not around. You can't be a parent if you're not parenting. You can't represent if you're not representing your I think that's a no-brainer. So
yeah, so there's a myriad of issues, but that's definitely high on the list in relation to why it's so important for people to stand up for their communities and really step up to the game if you see something that doesn't sit right with you. And the fact that the current congressman lives in Virginia absolutely does not sit right with me.
It doesn't sit right for me, and I'm a paying taxpayer in the state of Maryland. So I think that every single person that decides to take the job of being a local a voted constituent, I just messed up that word.
Constituent, yeah.
Needs to reside in the state they were voted on, and they need to regularly go back and have local forums and get evaluations. So, otherwise, how do you know what we want you to vote on, So
Right.
are you finding, are you getting some really good responses? Are you feeling positive? When did Namada have their local election yet?
Um, so in June is our primary election. So
Okay.
I'm just, 2 weeks away. So fingers crossed, I will emerge as the winner, and then I'll go up again in November for the general election. So I've really got kind of 2 elections ahead of me.
Of course. Well, that's
So
still
it's a
exciting
long
too.
process.
Yeah. So are the numbers trending up? Do you have
Yeah,
a
we have great feedback from people, and I think it's really important for us to just keep our eyes focused on the objective, head down doing work, and if it's in God's plan and I'm meant to emerge victorious, we're going to do everything that we can to assist that and help that. But if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
um what have they decided for election for the um are they doing mail in, or you have to go there in person? What's the rules of Nevada?
So for this primary in June, it got changed to all mail-in, and
Okay.
that is a first-time change. That's never been the case here in Nevada before. We've always done live to the polls voting, and so it got changed to all mail-in for this primary in June, and that's just part of what we now have to
Right. And
put
of
in our
course,
messaging and deal with it.
do you think that should help you, or do you think you just need to also encourage people to look out for that? Like it's something it's going to be a new thing, so it might be a challenge as well.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are just simply not used to voting by mail. And so we do have an option here recently that the election department opened up and said you can come drop off your ballot in person if you choose to. And so there have been some people doing that as well.
Oh, well, that sounds like a good idea. Assuming that they're doing their 6 feet and they're wearing their mask and they're doing everything they can to stay safe. So, um,
Right.
I know here in our state of Maryland, we did go to Maryland, and uh, I'm concerned about what the future would be, but I also don't want anyone to take huge risks to vote for in a major election too. I'm concerned either way. Are you concerned being on the major ballot in November and it all being mail in, or you're just going to take that bullet when it comes, if it comes? And
Yeah, I mean, I don't foresee it going that way here in November. I do think we will be able to pass the ballot in person if you choose to, or they would still allow for absentee mail-in ballot to occur. I think that's what's going to happen in November. But if that's not the case and it gets switched to all mail-in, we will have to deal with that as that comes.
I just wanted to take one extra second and talk about our sponsor of the week, Mid-Atlantic Video and Photography Production. No matter if you're planning a wedding and you need a wedding videographer, you're doing a music video, or you're doing a commercial, they are the team to get the job done. You can reach out to them at 443-422-3830. Again, that's 443-422-3830. Or you can go right to their website at mavpp.com. Now let's get right back to this great interview. All right, Lisa, before I let you go, is there anything about the campaign that you definitely want to tell the listeners? And also, because we definitely have a lot of pageant and modeling, do you have any helpful tips that would help anyone starting off that you would recommend? Because you gave a really great tip about perhaps, seeking a need or finding something that's really passionate and then focusing on that. But if you have another good thing to pass on, everyone is always appreciative.
Yeah, of course. Um, Well, so in relation to the campaign, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I'm so grateful to my supporters. I've had many Nevadans tell me they're engaging with politics for the first time or re-engaging with politics because of my campaign, and that's been a large part of my messaging is encouraging people like myself to come off the sidelines. Hey, let's get engaged, let's get involved. And, so I'm so appreciative to, my friends all around the country, including yourself, who also have been just so supportive of, my candidacy and my race. And so I'm so filled with gratitude from that angle, about the campaign. And regardless of what happens, I will be grateful for this experience and opportunity. In relation to, if you're starting out in modeling, absolutely drilling down a niche, I think is really helpful right now. But also just, find ways to get yourself out there, whether that's that community engagement, being part of the community, volunteering, getting a chance to put yourself in a place where you will just meet new people and meet more people. That's always, I think, the best and kind of organic way to network. And then if there's a way for you to collaborate and cross promote with people, that's always a great accelerator, especially in your modeling career. So if let's say you have a friend who just started a clothing company, or someone who makes hats or whatever, offer to help them, and you'll find that there ends up being a lot of great organic marketing that happens when you end up cross promoting and collaborating with others. And that to me is just really the best way to grow.
Lisa, how do you find time in the day? I mean, we just demonstrated that you're running for office. You have 4 businesses. You have a very lovely dog that was being a part of the show, and and you also have a significant other. How do you juggle all that? Like, I don't know how you do. And you also have to do campaigning. You have to, go out and see people. So how does that all work?
Yeah. So, when it comes to the businesses, I don't do anything alone. I have great business partners in everything that I do. We have great teams, we have great staff. And, even with my boyfriend, Corey, I'm really grateful to him because he really steps up like as a partner, right? So it's like if I'm spread thin and there's things I can't do or tasks I can't get to, or whatever it is, like he is willing to step up and help, and be someone to kind of help share that load, and that's what you need. I think for people to be able to manage their schedule and really pursue the things that they feel passionately about. You can't do it alone. You can't have a kind of soloist or isolationist mentality, because there's only so much that you personally physically can do in a 24-hour period. So how do you spread those responsibilities around? How do you really just kind of be able to focus and drill in on the core things that you're really good at, and then get out of the way of the others, so that way you can get more done, by having teams and being willing to collaborate and partner with others.
So, if I can break that down just a little bit, does that mean that, in my opinion, do you think you do a really excellent job at management and finding leadership within those different departments, and you find really great stars to really facilitate those businesses or those departments and doing really well? And do you think you do a great job of just overseeing and managing? Because it sounds to me you've done a really great job of managing from afar, because otherwise your businesses would not be operating. So you must be doing that right. So am I stretching that out and not proceeding that right, or is that correct?
I mean, I think you have to be communicative, right? There's like extreme communication that happens, daily. So being communicative and being accountable to your team, because of course, there are some things only you can take care of, but then there are other things that don't have to be taken care of by you, and those are things you can delegate out. Those are things your partners, take on themselves to handle, whatever that may be. So having that communication around, well, what are my roles and responsibilities? What are your roles and responsibilities? How are we working together to achieve our common goal? I think having that extreme communication and accountability, because if you take it on, you say, yes, I'm going to do A, B, and C, you better get those things done. Because I think that's where things can start to fall apart, is if you expect everyone else to kind of pick up the slack or take on roles and responsibilities that you yourself are supposed to be doing.
I mean, to be honest, if you were running for my local seat, I would be so impressed because I would love to have someone who is young and committed and female and is ready to be in the fight. And it sounds like to me you know how to manage and get things done. So to me, you sound like a great candidate. So I really
Well,
hope that we the listeners out there see how great candidate you are. So
thank you so much for your support.
no problem. I really appreciate you supporting my show and coming on the show and just taking a little bit of time out of your show, out of your day. And thank you so much for coming on the show, Lisa.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Lisa, wow. Thank you so much for your time. I am so impressed by you as always. I can't imagine a better person representing District 4 in Nevada than you. Simply because of your effort and all of the business you represent. You own businesses in that area, and it's important to understand the people that you represent. That's a perfect reason right there. Second of all, the person that is the current representative of District 4 doesn't even live there. Come on, guys. Lisa is more than qualified. Don't let the current person take that position and live in Nevada and live in Virginia. That's just ridiculous. Thank you, Lisa. God bless you. And we're rooting for you. Thank you so much for all of our listeners. Don't forget, we also have, on top of our podcast that you are listening to, the Total Focus Podcast, we also have our movie review show called The Movie Breakdown with our co-host, Yvonne Carlos. So, on top of our wonderful, incredible podcast, we also have our movie breakdown. I am really excited for all the new things we're going to be talking about. So please stay tuned and please throw us some ideas if there are some things you would like us to review. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe both on iTunes and on YouTube, is where this show is being produced and being provided. And as always, please stay tuned.